We're back, guys. A week of hiatus, a bye week for fun times. Up in the foothills of Colorado, just dealing with shenanigans. We're back. It's Tuesday night. There's a lot of football. It's a chock full slate of football. It's NFL, it's college. Everything's in full swing. We're going to try to rip through it tonight in a decent hour here and get you guys tucked in with a nice slate of recaps, summaries, best bets, and some good talk around the pigskin. Welcome back in, Guy by a Cactus, back in the desert state.
some uh some real game tape to break down. Finally, just way better than predictions and analysis and hypothetical what if touchdown situations that you chalk up trying to figure out who's going to win the division. So this is just great. That was a lot of football and Buffalo and New York. Man, that might have been my favorite game of the weekend.
Yeah, of course, very unfortunate what happened to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets' bigger picture aspect of the season or outlook of the season. But again, such an entertaining game. What a way to cap off the week of football with a Monday night banger. It was an amazing game. For whatever reason, I never believed the Jets were out of it. Like once I saw their defense, I was like, they're in this game. Even though
Sure.
Rodgers got hurt mostly by the second quarter, again, that Cowboys Giants game, I think it was in the first quarter, maybe even, or maybe it was 19-0 in the second quarter. I was gone. I was playing Starfield, just flying ships around, just
An
gathering minerals.
impressive win. Yeah, I'm there with you.
And I didn't get that feeling in the Jets and Bills game. So therefore, I stuck it out. I rode with it, and I laid on my back and watched all 3.5 hours of that football game, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. Definitely lived up to the billing of Monday night. That return to end the game just so dramatic, and probably though, on a funny note, might be one of the worst kicker tackle attempts like in the history of the league. Like when
Oh
you
yeah,
watch that
yeah.
tackle attempt back on film, like it was just up there. And that's, I mean, still, I think Jets win that game either way because they're one or two halfback dives from being in the end zone, even if he's tripped up there. But
Oh,
um,
absolutely, yeah. Even if he faltered, I got to say I love what the Jets did. Obviously, Dalvin Cook coming in, you get a little bit of power, you get some shiftiness with Brees Hall, and if they run those two well, they can play off of each other where they don't get tired and they don't get injured. It's a dangerous thing.
absolutely.
You had Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb's pretty much a shell at this point, but you had Alan Lazard, you got CJ Uzoma, and of course Garrett Wilson with that epic touchdown catch at the end of the game.
Man,
That's a
he
good
he
team.
single-handedly first of all, he single-handedly, like, just made that. I mean, obviously, everybody knows this, but, man, Zach Wilson, nobody loves Garrett more than Zach because that is the type of catch that bails out
Saved his ass.
once more another 146-yard performance from just a guy stuck in High School Musical. This is you put a lot of stock into this guy or as a really, really high prospect on the draft board and continues to just disappoint. Um, I don't think obviously I think it was a good win, but we're gonna see, and we'll talk about this soon, but I think we're gonna see the Bills bounce back this weekend, no doubt.
On the slate today, guys, chopping through it. We got NFL Week 1 recap. We'll touch on the storylines and our thoughts from Week 1. We got college football Week 2, brief recap, our biggest upsets and our thoughts there. NFL Week 2 preview, our picks and best bets, and then we'll briefly knock through the top 25 matchups, college football Week 3 preview, and best bets. Kicking it off with the top, we'll start with the NFL just because that is what everybody's been so anticipating. The biggest sports league in the nation. Sorry, the National Football League. Week 1. What are your thoughts first and foremost? I know there were some big underperformers, overachievers. Some key injuries, of course. Biggest takeaways Week 1. Who has impressed you the most, and who has disappointed you the most?
I would say I'm most impressed by the Cleveland Browns. I don't think anybody's gonna sit there and say that Deshaun Watson is guaranteed to look like that all year. He's gonna still have his ups and downs getting back. But the defense is for real in Cleveland, and I am absolutely impressed by that group because even though the Bengals should still bounce back, contend for the division, um, the Browns defense is good. Those pickups were big, and then To me, the biggest disappointment um, would have to say the Chicago Bears. I mean, just so many big time acquisitions in the offseason. And what I pretty much saw um, was they spent all this money on linebackers, and then the defensive line is so soft that it's not working out. You know, those linebackers pretty much have no base. Defensive line getting blown off the ball. Probably one of the maybe the worst Bears D line in first or probably the last 10 or 11 years outside of that group, maybe in 2015. It's pretty bad. And then obviously on offense, Justin Fields just didn't give you anything despite a bad O line. You want to see something, and I'll tell you this right now: with Kyler Gordon, the starting D back out, I still think they win this weekend against Tampa Bay. I don't trust Tampa Bay, but with Kyler Gordon out for extended time now, I think the Bears are in the Caleb Williams race more than anybody now, and I would not be surprised to see them move on from Justin Fields at the end of the season if they have that opportunity. So stay tuned.
All right, I see it. For me, I'm going to go with the 49ers. The 49ers were the biggest surprise to me. One, that Brock Purdy came out and looked that solid. Again, this is a team they've gone pretty far each and every year the last couple seasons. They get far, they just can't finish it due to injuries, most likely. This year, it seems like everybody's together, and as long as Purdy stays healthy and plays into that form, this is my team to beat in the NFC. This defense is so good. They have so many weapons on offense. And Purdy looks solid. He just throws little zingers. I didn't think he would just come back and be fine from surgery like that. Again, let him play back into shape. Just throw those dink down passes to McCaffrey and Debo. Run the ball. You got Kittle over the middle. You got Ayuk. Like, this team has Pro Bowlers written all over it. Ayuk with a huge first game. 49ers to me blew me away. I think they're the runaway favorite for the Super Bowl champion right now. With Aaron Rodgers now out, I think it's the 49ers Lombardi to lose at this point. The Chiefs do not look good. The Bengals do not look good. The Ravens are already injured. The Browns probably don't have enough. You just start to look around and you're like, who is going to stop the 49ers? Not many teams. I don't know
It's a
who they
good question.
AFC that could really, hold a candle to them, unless the Chiefs or Bengals turn it around. Biggest disappointment for me, gonna have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, this is a team that I thought was going to come out and cakewalk to the AFC Championship game. I thought this is an MVP season from Joe Burrow, and neither of those things transpired on Sunday. Bengals' biggest disappointment to me, 49ers, definitely taking the cake. NFL Week 1, Bears obviously lost. Vikings obviously lost. Our teams were in a tumble. Cardinals lost a nasty game, which you would pretty much figure that. Again, Texans, they got their quarterback. They lost. They're bad. It could be a Bears Cardinals race for Caleb Williams. Again, something I floated to a Jets fan today with Aaron Rodgers out. I mean, they won the last game, but had they lost game 1, you start to sit around and think, let's tank the season and just get Caleb Williams next year. They won the game. Zach Wilson, although he is a horrible quarterback still, he did look better than he did last year. He came out and at least started to complete some passes. But you see the immaturity everywhere. It's going to take him a couple weeks. So if they keep winning, I was watching a video today, Debo Samuel K. Adams. He says he still believes the Jets are a playoff team. He thinks Zach Wilson has improved enough, has enough mentorship, and the team's good enough around him. You add Lazard and you add Cook to that offense. There's some more weapons there now to where he doesn't even have to be good. This could be a Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson type of guy to get you, hopefully, to the playoffs and then some. But it's not enough to me. Again, 49ers, it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, I understand why you'd err on the side of San Fran. I mean, they definitely looked the part. Brock Purdy is, I think, what we're seeing is he is that good, meaning we're not telling one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he's that good to where he can excel at a really high level when you have guys like Ayuk, Samuels. I mean, there's quarterbacks out there that are third string, most of them that can't take advantage of that opportunity, but he's good enough too. So until he plays with guys that aren't as good, it's a little bit hard to assess how truly efficient he is because you don't know how good quarterback is till he has to kind of create more on his own sometimes. But I think in this situation, he is a lot better than we all anticipated when he came in last year. Um, and I think this is going to be a fun season to watch unfold, man. A lot of storylines early, and I'm getting a big sense of hunger from the Miami Dolphins, and we can touch on that later. But I think they're going to in for a big season, especially now. You talk about Zach Wilson at the reins, just not enough, and Tua is in a much better place right now.
Yeah, Dolphins did look impressive, and right now in that division with Rodgers out and Zach Wilson beating Josh Allen yet again, most of the analysts are going to point to the South Beach Dolphins down there as the team to beat. Can Tua stay healthy? How are those concussions going to affect him? Can he stay up and off the ground? Week 2, prime night, NFL on prime. Vikings go to the Eagles. They beat them there last year. Totals 49. Eagles favored by a flat 7. What are you thinking on this one? I honestly want to say the Vikings cover, but that's the Viking fan in me. Eagles should win this game. There's no reason they lose this game. But again, you get to the Super Bowl and you lose, you typically don't have that good of a season the next year. So something tells me
Yeah, I feel like this is a
Vikings
trap game.
cover.
I do feel like this is a trap game for the Eagles. I've thought about it a lot, and um, I'm actually going to take this as an upset of the week just because it almost just it feels too again feels too good to be true on the Eagles line -6.5. You look at their roster, look at the Vikings roster. It's such a foregone conclusion that that's like, man, anytime it's so the line's so good to be true, it comes off as suspicious to me.
Duke and
And
Clemson.
yeah, we got burned on Duke and Clemson, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Vikings to upset this week and get this thing done probably 23-20 in just a sloshy battle.
I for me, I don't like what I saw from the Vikings. I don't think they win this game, but I think they cover. I think that spread is too big. I think people are overhyping the Eagles a little too much still based on last year's success. No Miles Sanders, of course. New guys back there. Kenneth Gainwell. Vikings cover. Eagles should win this game. 5, 6 points. I can see that happening. Packers Falcons. This is a 2-point game. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Everything in me is saying, hold the Jordan Love hype. People are so quick to crown him the next Green Bay long tenured quarterback. You're in a dome against a veteran team. I like the Falcons. I like the Falcons here. Falcons -2. Flip it the other way around. Falcons -2. Green Bay is getting 2 right now on the road, but I think Falcons take this one.
I think Green Bay wins it. I just don't. Desmond Ritter's just not good. I've watched a lot of football, and I mean, he might be good one day, but right now he's
What
just
happened
not
to
good.
Taylor Heineke? Isn't he? Didn't he sign over there? He's way better than Desmond Ritter.
I thought Ritter was going to start. Is Ritter
Oh,
out
he
or what?
should. He should. I mean, because that's what the team chose. But if I was the general manager over there, Ritter would be the second or third string quarterback, man. Like Taylor Heineke's got so much more experience and he's so much better quarterback. My God.
Well,
Desmond
if
Ritter.
Heineke's playing, then I'll probably
I
go
don't
with
I don't think he
Atlanta.
is. I think they've listed him as the backup.
Well, then yeah, I like Green Bay. I mean, like I said, I just don't. And here's the thing: I'll admit Jordan Love is better than I thought he is, but I think as we see the season go on, they're going to probably win 7 to 8 games, so they're still not very good. Like I think Jordan Love's probably he looks like he's going to be at least an average rookie, but I think the Bears defense again just completely dropped drop the ball because that again. Any offense missing their best wide receiver, if they dominate the defense, more times than not, it's the secondary that is liable in these situations. It's not usually because the offense is just next level. So we'll see, but I think it's enough to beat Atlanta if Ritter plays for sure.
Las Vegas Raiders now going to Orchard Park. Buffalo favored by 10. Totals at 47, 64 degrees, cloudy. CBS game, 10 o'clock. I like the Raiders to cover this one. 10 points again, just a little too much. going to say Bills 27-21. Jimmy Garoppolo kind of tries to show that he can still hang in the league with some of these big arms. Raiders are 1-0. Wasn't a pretty win, but they got it. Buffalo, of course, lost in overtime. Give me the Raiders to cover this 10-point spread. Bills should win the game and get their first win at home on in the season. Move to 1-1.
No doubt. Yeah, I think Bills get it done too. Probably a touchdown. And I think a much better showing from Josh Allen. The Jets defense played really well, but there's no way he'll even look that bad probably in the second time he meets the Jets. So big time game probably coming up from Allen.
Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 48 yards last week. He will get into the end zone. Mark that down as your surefire bet of the week. Josh Jacobs, anytime touchdown. Cash that on DraftKings. And let me know what you did with the money, because that's cashing. Ravens at Bengals, CBS rivalry game, Cincinnati, Ohio. Paycor Stadium is now the name. Interesting. 72 degrees. Lamar Jackson's lost some players already. Bengals looked awful. Cincinnati's favored by 4. Totals at 47. What are you thinking here? Rivalry game, tough one.
I love the Ravens at +4 here. It's a divisional battle. The Bengals are going to try to come out and refigure things out, and they probably win the game, but I think the Ravens keep it close. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, just a band. Three guys should be able to keep it close, and we'll see if that's the case.
Yeah, for my sake, I mean, I hope the Bengals perform better. Actually, I didn't ever even put a bet down on it, but my long-term take before the season was Joe Burrow would have won the MVP. He's got to bounce back. He's got to be that MVP for them. I just don't see a world where the Bengals continuously suck with the type of talent that they have. Nonetheless, close game. I could see the field goal. I could see the Ravens covering this game, but I think Bengals win by a field goal this game. 27-24. Total at 47 does get covered.
Yep.
This next game actually has me really interested. I really want to watch this game. 10 o'clock Fox game, Seahawks at Lions. Detroit favored by 6, totals at 47. Inside, I say hammer the over on the total. And I think the Seahawks actually cover this 6 points. I think the Seahawks might win this game, but due to it being in Detroit and the Seahawks haven't won yet, I'm going to say Lions win, but Seahawks cover 6 is too generous. Let's not keep in mind the Lions barely won and the Lions beat up Chiefs team. Seahawks lost, but DK Metcalf looks unstoppable. It just depends on how the rest of their offense gets rolling. Running back, quarterbacks, can they get enough consistency? I expect a big day from DK, another touchdown, and he's going to keep rolling. So that's what I see in that one. Seahawks, Lions, what do you got?
Yeah, I got Seahawks money line all day. I think Pete Carroll comes out with a great game plan, stifles the Lions early, and I think they probably win by 8 to 10 points, if not more. Just feel an off night coming for Detroit. I think they're coming off an emotional win, the first time they've opened a primetime season, and also won in a long time. And so I think it's one of those games they come in a little bit too high on their horse and they drop it. But it'll be interesting to see, does Geno Smith get back on track? Obviously, Seattle loved what he did last year. And then now you have Jared Goff coming off a big performance against KC. Definitely going to be watching those guys. I think that game and then that game and then Ravens Bengals is going to make for some great coffee. I mean, you just talk about an early slate with some cappuccino. I mean, that's
Good slate of
ideal.
morning games. Good slate of morning games. Another one coming up. It's a toss-up game. Two teams I feel like are both in the decline now. Chargers and Titans. Both are winless. Games in Nashville, Tennessee, Nissan Stadium. Chargers favored by a field goal. I'm leaning Titans on this one. I think it's a home game. I like the running back duo they're forming over there with Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears. I think they get this done. I think they win a sloppy game. 70 degrees, beautiful weather, but 45 total, and I don't think that even gets close. I think they're in the 30s. Titans win this game. What do you got?
I'm going with the Chargers on this one. I think Herbert is going to come in dialed in. I think they're the much better team, and they need to win this game more. The Titans really don't. I know as much as Derrick Henry has been, a straightforward, committed to winning player. I don't think that Titans team really has much to play for overall. I mean, their quarterback situation isn't great. The defense is kind of okay. Um, Nothing is compelling about that team, but I think the Chargers at least have a really good offense, and that wins out Sunday, gets them back on track and right back in the divisional hunt. Probably tied with 1-1. There's a little sneak peek. They'll be tied 1-1 with the Chiefs because there's my prediction on Jags Chiefs, which we can talk about later. But yeah, boom.
Yep. And then next, of course, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa 87. I believe it's going to be the hottest game of the week in Tampa Bay. Bears go to the pirate ship. Tampa Bay by 3, totals at a measly 41.5, 42 points will get you the total here. I'm going to say go over on the total here, 42 points. That's very, very low. Again, I get these are two teams that are not going to put up a lot of points. They don't have a whole lot of weapons or consistency. But 42 is measly. Weather's beautiful. Nothing's going to happen over there. It's a good game to say go over the total because I'm not sure who's going to win this game. To me, they're both kind of equal. Vikings played poor. Baker played pretty decent. Got it done for the Buccaneers. But again, I expect Justin Fields to have a big game. I don't think the Buccaneers defense is as good as it's been played up to be the last couple seasons. They've gradually fallen off since that Super Bowl. And this is the year. Yeah, Justin Fields, anytime touchdown, ding, ding, cash that, running on in. Justin Fields, anytime touchdown in this game. Not sure who wins. Give me the total, 42.
I like something more around over 40. Like if I wanted a comfortable over, that's how I feel. Like I don't know about 42, kind of makes me nervous, but over 40, maybe over 37. I don't know what to believe. Two quarterbacks that to this point haven't been consistent. I know again they're not in the best situations with their offensive continuity. That Justin Fields still getting into the season here with this new team on offense he's got. So we'll see. Same with Baker, but look, I mean, I think the Bears after week 1, I'm not even sure they're going to win more than 6 football games this year, which is really disappointing. But I think they win this weekend because Tampa Bay is not who they portrayed to be this weekend. I think they're a fraud for sure. It just came off as one of those games where you beat a Vikings team that is really going to fight tooth and nail to win 9, 10 football games. Not so that doesn't impress me by Tampa, right? So could the Bears beat them? 100%. And I just think Baker Mayfield is prone to disappear. If you just start to disappear, Justin Fields still has his legs, and he can, like you said, he can make you pay. So I think Bears probably get it done 20-17.
Chiefs Jags. This game is in Jacksonville. And if you guys remember back at the Waffle House game, we talked about in a YouTube clip last year. I believe this was the AFC Championship or the divisional round. Was it AFC Jacksonville?
I think so, but it was a foggy time for sure. I believe that was what.
Give me
I
the
think so. Yeah.
Jaguars. Yeah, give me the Jaguars in this game. It's a 3-point Kansas City favorite, total at 51. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win this game. I think they're finally coming into their own. They're not super flashy yet, but they got a lot of freaking talent. ETN's played so well. Ridley, of course, had 101 yards and a touchdown in his first game back since the gambling suspension. Lawrence did throw the pick. He had 2 touchdowns, 240 yards. I just think this team is built right. I think they're built right. They're coached right. They got a coach that's had the experience. He's been to Super Bowls. And look, the Chiefs are slipping right now. If Kelsey doesn't play, they're going to get Chris Jones back. But if Kelsey doesn't play, Kadarius Toney's got to show up in a big way. And I just think that Jacksonville has a good enough defense to ask what the Chiefs have. Kelsey won't be at 100%. The defense won't be at 100% with Chris Jones just coming back and kind of throwing things off. I like Jacksonville to win this game by a field goal. That 3 points is going the other way for me. I'll take Jacksonville +3 to win this game and go 2-0 on the season.
I'm taking the Chiefs here. I think Pat Mahomes finds a way, wills a way to get it done with Andy Reid at the spearhead. just two guys I trust down 0-1 in the season going into a big matchup. They know how big this moment is. The Jaguars are really talented. And then I think, on another note, it's if he stays in Jacksonville, and part of this is because some of their history hasn't been, so crowded, but Ridley, I think he might, if he's there the next 5 to 8 years, he might end up being the best wide receiver in Jacksonville Jaguars history. He is that guy. Um, all the
I don't know.
tools, all the tools. If he stays off FanDuel, I can't think of anybody that had more potential in the Jaguars wide receiver room since they became a franchise, just from raw physical talent standpoint. But
Jimmy Smith was good. Jimmy Smith was great, really. Keenan McCardle. I think Jimmy Smith was probably better. But yeah, if Ridley plays his career there, there's
he could be better.
little
He
to
could
no
be
doubt
the
he could be right up there, if not better. Yeah.
like physically. He's so fast. But yeah, I got the Chiefs to win either way.
All right, I like it. Yeah, we've been going mostly the opposite way, I think, on every single one, except Bears, Buccaneers. I just have no idea because I think they're so freakingly similar. Like they're, it's just, oh my God. And the next game, do we even want to talk about the Colts and the Texans? It's a total of 40. It's in NRG Stadium. Two rookie quarterbacks going against each other, which I think Anthony Richardson's better. Colts are favored by 1, even at NRG. Michael Pittman looked good. Richardson looked okay. Stroud looked okay. Such a nasty game. Under 40? Do we dare to go under 40?
Only the true degenerates are gambling on that game. I mean, man.
I think I'm going under 40 here. Like, I don't know who's going to win this game because they're, again, two very similar teams. Texans might have a better defense. No, Colts are there. I'm laying off this game. I'll take the under 40 points. I don't think two rookie quarterbacks on two of the worst teams, if not the two worst teams in the league, get to
who
40.
wins?
I'll take Texans because they're at home. Damian Pierce, anytime touchdown. He's got the experience now. Let him carry the city. That would be, or it's just home field advantage. I think they're so equal. They're both so inexperienced. Texans by 1. The 1 point spread. Like Texans
I
plus.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I'll go Texas money line or Texans money line. Pretty much for everything the reasons you just said. At home, a little bit of a better defense, but I also like Stroud more as a quarterback this year than Richardson. I mean, I think it's too early to make the call on who I think will be better after one game. That's kind of crazy, but I mean, I'd like Stroud better as of this year. I think he'll be a better rookie. I think his game translates more. Texans probably in a blowout, honestly. I think they just come in and just quiet down the Colts fans that watching with their Sunday ticket packages. Just a cold day on the couch, man.
What I got for game of the week is the next game, 49ers at Rams. 1:00 game on Fox. SoFi. 49ers favored by 8. The total is only 45 points. That's because the 49ers defense, I'm assuming. Low totals this season. Pretty low totals. Rams are much better than I thought they were. Cooper Kupp's not playing, but the Rams are much better than I thought they were. Nonetheless, 49ers do win this game. I don't know if I want to give them the 8, but it's very possible. This could be a touchdown to 10-point win for the 49ers. I just think they're more well-rounded. Stafford's got to have a fire game. Stafford's got to throw for 300 plus 2 touchdowns for the Rams to win this game, but I think 49ers get it done. Give me 49ers by a touchdown.
Yeah, I just think their overall pressure, off the edge with Bosa, the offense, just too many guys that can take over the game, and Rams are kind of, I think, on the backswing of that contending window. So I think it's going to be a close game at halftime. Probably a couple important plays spread the game up and trail it away in the third, but Niners, no doubt, the team to beat, and we'll see it again this weekend, I think.
I don't think I've seen a season with such low totals. I'm just looking at these games and it's blowing my mind. So the next game we have the team that got blowout 40-0, the New York Giants, coming to Westgate to play the 0-1 Cardinals. The total's 39.5. Giants are favored by 6. I really hope the Cardinals start Clayton Tune. Like, I'm so sick of Josh Dobbs. Like, Josh Dobbs is just a practice squad player. Like, I don't know how he's been in the league doing nothing for so long. But it's just taking up roster space, and it's frustrating as a fan to watch Josh Dobbs come in. I remember games when quarterbacks would get hurt, and they're like, Josh Dobbs starting at quarterback. And I'm just like, dude, this is why you just turn games off and play video games or go eat. Like, nobody wants to watch Josh Dobbs play football. He should not have started last week. Threw for 132 yards and nothing else. No touchdown, no pick. Like, at least do something. Take a risk. Don't like it. Clayton Tune needed to be starting. That should be the change. If he starts, Cardinals still lose this game. They're the worst team in football. There's no doubt about it. No desire to win, no passion, poor leadership, poor management, poor coaching, and a shitty roster. The Cardinals suck. It's a disgrace. They could possibly win one game this year. I'll give them a ceiling of 2, but I think the Cardinals win one football game this year. Half of it by choice, half of it by tanking. They'll blame it on tanking and say it's because of tanking, but this is the worst team in a long time in the National Football League. So give me the Giants to cover this 5.5 all day. Cardinals suck at home anyways. They hardly win. Goes back to the what's his name? Fucking Gosling. Cliff Kingsbury era. So yeah. That's my take on that.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of work to do for Jonathan Gannon. I mean, he knew that coming into this job, and obviously things have been about as tumultuous as you can expect. I mean, Josh Dobbs in there, got Colt McCoy's injury that lingered. Nobody really knows what you have with Clayton Tune, but odds are he's probably a practice squad quarterback too at this point. They might be the one team in this league that can get better by signing Colin Kaepernick. As many picks as he throws, all other teams, I think that's a step down.
Lucky
But
bringing Nathan Peterman. He's on the Bears, huh?
I think they released. No, I think he's on there. Yeah, but they waived what's his name? The Panthers quarterback Jackson or whatever.
PJ Walker, yeah.
PJ Walker. There we go. But anyways, what game were we talking about?
Giants Cardinals 6 points spread.
Giants Cards. Yeah.
Total.
So yeah. Anyways, like I said, Gannon, a lot of work to do, and then what better game? I mean, if you're Danny Dimes coming off a fraudulent performance, what else can you get ordered up that will get you back on track? The Arizona Cardinals coming to play Sunday. He should have another 200 plus yard game, maybe throw for 2 touchdowns, which is exactly what he needed because look, big contract, they paid him a lot of money, and everybody called and screamed for the Wolf that they overpaid Danny Dimes, and we saw that on the big stage last weekend. Even if he bounces back, I'm sorry, that is not for the money we paid him. That's not what he's supposed to be, but we knew that. So.
The surefire bet for me in this game, looking at the rounds, looking at the ranks, looking at what happened across these 2 games. Giants win this game. 3-leg parlay. Here's your SGP. Giants win the game. Darren Waller scores a touchdown. James Conner scores a touchdown. You should cash that. 14 carries, 62 yards last week for James Conner. 3 catches, 36 yards last week for Darren Waller. Both players primed for a big game to get into the end zone. Both players are blanket players when their teams need to get in the end zone. When you need a surefire touchdown, go to your big tight end. When you have no quarterbacks on your roster, who do you go to? James Conner. It's foolproof. I think it's the best bet of the week. 3-leg parlay, Giants money line, James Conner touchdown, Darren Waller touchdown. Next week, Jets, next game, Jets at Cowboys. This is another 39.5, 40-point total. Jets have a defense. Cowboys got the offense. And Cowboys are slated to win by 9 points. And I think they do. I think they win by about 11, 12 points in this game. Look, the Jets have defense. But this is a much more experienced Cowboys team. and they're coming off a 40-point win on the road. They're feeling, nonetheless, against a New York team, they're ready to come in and show what they can do in Arlington and prove the Cowboys can finally do it. I think the Cowboys cover the spread of this game pretty handily, and the Jets, continue to be on the search for a quarterback once they see Zach Wilson running for his life from Micah Parsons.
I think this is going to be a really ugly game through 2 to 3 quarters. I just see like a lot of offensive sputtering from Zach Wilson. I think the Jets front seven is getting after Dak Prescott, probably like 3-0 at halftime. Like it's not a game that I'm going to watch based off of what I think is going to happen. And I think the Cowboys probably do end up winning by 10-13. Buffalo's defense is really good. Obviously, Josh Allen made a lot of mistakes week one, but I think the Jets defense is better. The Buffalo Bills were obviously out without Von Miller. He didn't play. The Jets are going to be at full strength. They have all their stars. Quentin Williams in there. He's active. He's getting after it. So it's going to be a good game, but Dallas's defense, I think, is better than both of them. I thought that coming into the season. They looked that way all year last year, honestly. And then, you got a good buzz around them coming into this season. So I think that prevails. They wear down Zach and then continue to move ahead. And moving into week 3, the Eagles are going to start to have to pay attention to Dallas, I think, because that division might turn into a dogfight.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one there. Yeah, that's Cowboys. I don't know. They always disappoint, and I'm not a Cowboys fan, so it doesn't matter to me. But they got to at some point come out hot, and this looks like their best start in a long, long time. So hats off to the Cowboys. We'll see what they can do. I expect them to get the win and move to 2-0. The totals keep shrinking. The matchups keep getting worse. Commanders at Broncos. Commanders are 1-0. Broncos are 0-1. Totals 38. Denver favored by 4, 77. I think Broncos do win this game. I think the Broncos win by field goal. I don't trust the 3.5. I like the 2.5, so I'll go with the alt spread of 2.5. Broncos get the win at home. Russell Wilson finally has something to talk about. Commanders just they got a lot to work out. They got a lot to work out. Just like the Broncos, don't get me wrong. But Commanders, they just roster wise, they got a lot of improvements to make.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sean Payton, Russ Wilson get it done. Still nowhere near impressed with that team and that tandem. Obviously, a lot of football left to still be played, but I think they get it done. But they should be close. I think Washington and Sam Howell make it interesting. I think he's got a solid arm. Probably one of the stronger armed guys that are coming from that draft class, and so they'll take some shots. But yeah, it's tough again without Chase healthy, which again at this point is now a reoccurring theme. I mean, it seems like we were talking about this last year too.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's good as gone at this point.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I see them moving on from him as soon as possible. Probably this season, really. Dolphins at Patriots is the Sunday night game, 5:20 here Mountain Standard Time, 8:20 East. NBC. Dolphins at Patriots. Let's get this. Miami's only got 3 points, 2.5, favoring them against Belichick and Foxborough. 68 night game, 47 total. So they are going higher points here. They think it's going to be more of a slugfest. Belichick's been a chess master in division rivalry games, and specifically against the Dolphins and Jets for years and years and years. But again, this might be the most talented Miami Dolphins team he's faced in his career. So with what he has, Ezekiel Elliott did not look good. It looks like his career is pretty much over. Do the Patriots have enough to keep this within 3? I don't think so.
No.
I
I think the Dolphins win by 5 to 6 points. I expect Bill to come out in a competitive mindset as always and really dial up some things to get to a backpedaling, but I think the Dolphins ultimately hold on. I mean, Bradley Chubb, Tua Tagovailoa, the Cheetah. I mean, this team is stacked. I just don't see enough on the Patriots side to make me believe it. I think, like, I mean, you and pretty much anybody else, right? I mean, that's the foregone conclusion, isn't it?
Yeah, I think just the fact that it's in Foxborough and it's the Patriots and there's that mystique around the division rivalry and Belichick, and he's just such a wizard. And again, that can only take you so far. We started to see the first of that last year, and I think that continues this year, barring a freak injury or just the Patriots coming out like dogs on defense. That's the only thing. If their defense shows up and makes it a game, but too much talent for Miami. I think they cover this three pretty handily, touchdown or more for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and this, but I will say this is a game is one of the games that I am interested in.
Oh,
There's been
very
plenty
much
on the
so. Yeah.
schedule that I don't want to watch, but this is one that you just feel like if you want to sit down and just see a true chess match, one of the young up and coming coaches in this league versus one of the OGs, you can't cook up a better situation.
We got a doubleheader on Monday night, first of the year, September 18th. Saints, Panthers, Browns, Steelers. They start at 4:15 out Mountain West time. Saints at Panthers. Derek Carr. Who's the Panthers quarterback? Oh, Bryce Young. Bryce Young. Derek Carr, Bryce Young. Saints won a nasty game at home. Panthers lost. I think Saints win this game again. Division rivalry. Um, Saints a little better team depth wise, more experience. I think Panthers keep losing. Nothing tells me otherwise here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Panthers defense has a couple guys that you see on film, and they do a good job. But overall, I don't think they have what it takes. And really, I'm not too enthusiastic about Vegas either. I thought they would look a little better in their opener. They left a lot to be desired. But Derek Carr, you just got to take him in any situation, even without Alvin Kamara, to get this thing done. Until the Panthers show you otherwise, it's just hard to jump on that boat.
Derek Carr, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 305 last week in the W. Chris Olave, 112 yards. He'll get in the end zone. Mark that touchdown, Chris Olave, in this game. The next game, Browns Steelers rivalry game, night game Monday night to cap it off for week 2. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers at home hosting Deshaun Watson and the Browns. I just didn't see enough from the Steelers. I don't know. I thought Kenny Pickett was going to come out and play better. He threw 2 picks, 232, 1 touchdown. Nick Chubb lock it up, getting in the end zone. He didn't last week, 106 on 18 carries. Chubb gets in for sure. Browns win this game to me. I'll flip it. Or no, nothing to flip here. Browns by a field goal is the favor, 2.5, and a total of 40. So 3 points and 40 total. Browns win this game by a field goal.
I absolutely agree. I think 3 to 4 points is a sweet spot. I think it is going to be a tough fight. Steelers know that 0-2 hole in that division is not where they want to go. Mike Tomlin, obviously one of the best playoff coaches when it comes to keeping his team in that conversation year in, year out. We saw the stats on that. And I think that, like you said, Chubb anytime touchdown is probably as good as gold. I mean, they're going to run the ball. This is that type of game. So Browns 2-0.
All right, lock it in here. Give us your best bets of the week, surefire win, and upset of the week.
For me, surefire win is Green Bay over Atlanta. Desmond Ritter, just not enough against the Green Bay defense that is going to create enough pressure to get this done. And then you said lock of the week and then surprise of the week. Oh, yeah. Surprise of the week is Vikings Eagles. I picked that as my upset game early. I think we're talking Kirk Cousins with the ice chain, riding back on the flight, pouring champagne on his neck because Eagles, again, really good team. I think they still win 11 football games this year. You're always scheduled for some trip ups. This feels like a trap game. We looked at the line. We know how Vegas reacts to games. And again, they're much better than the Vikings on paper than at 7 points. So you look at that line, Justin Jefferson, what he's capable of doing. It all starts to kind of come together. And again, as an unbiased outsider, I just think that's the game to have in mind for an upset. So what do you got in those games? And we'll kick it off with that. Who's your lock?
I'm going with the Seahawks. I think Seahawks are going to beat the Lions. I think that's the number one lock here. I think they had some misfortune in week one. I think Lions got some, I wouldn't say gift wrapped, but they had an easier route to face with that Chiefs team. It's not the Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl. Let's just be honest. Seahawks win this game against the Lions. Geno Smith gets them back to 500. Pete Carroll outcoaches Dan Campbell. That's my upset of the week. And then my biggest surprise. Ooh, well, I mean I don't know if I would even consider that a surprise, but it's an upset by the bookies, so we could go there. And then I don't know. I'm just gonna say 49ers Rams. I think 49ers Rams are something to watch there, whether it's good or bad. This game to me could be it's a make or break point to see how good the Rams actually are. If Matt Stafford comes out and beats this 49ers team, then now you have a team in the NFC that can compete with them. And I think the Rams have always been the team that's been able to compete with the 49ers. Seahawks somewhat at times. So I'm just going to put this in there as another possible upset, like game of the week, because it's not a lock to me. It's just something to watch, and that's the game I'm going to be locked in and watching a lot of. Let's just say that. So, that's how I'll end that one. And then we'll roll on over to the NCAA. We're going to, for the sake of time and way too many collegiate teams, nobody honestly truly cares unless you're a diehard fan about the teams lower than 50
Well,
or so.
and also think, and you saw the slate this weekend, and I think we could talk about you know, biggest winners week one, biggest surprises, and then we could talk about our locks and upsets this weekend. But as far as the breaking down the full slate, you're right, because I looked at the top 25 games. Like, I don't think there's one game that's a top 25 versus a top 25 this weekend. It's like all like
Oh yeah,
unranked versus
there's
ranked.
a lot of them are bad games. I mean, we're kicking it off on Thursday here. We got Bethune-Cookman at Miami. Nothing to
Yeah,
report
that
on the
is
bookies so far.
terrible.
Miami's
Bethune
just gonna
Cookman
run
at
through
Miami.
them. You got Florida State, number 3 in the nation, going to Boston College. That's a 26-point spread favoring the Seminoles. They should do that. Although I say hammer the over, it's a 49-point total. There's no reason why Florida State does not score 49 points, let alone beat Boston College by 49 points. That's one of my best bets of the week. Number 7, Penn State at Illinois. 15-point game favoring the Nittany Lions. I am curious to watch this game. 14 LSU at undefeated Mississippi State. Now, here's where I'm going to tell you this is fake news. Mississippi State's wins have come against fraudulent teams. LSU should blow this game out of the water. They might score 50 points by themselves. So a total of 55 with a LSU by 10 all day. Mississippi State, let me dive back in just to make sure I'm reminded correctly. Yeah, Mississippi State's wins are against Southeast Louisiana and U of A. Not good teams. That 2-0 record means nothing to me. This is the one I want to say upset on. And tell me what you think about Kansas State, number 15 in the nation at Missouri, favored by 5. Missouri 2-0, Kansas State 2-0. I like Missouri on the upset here. Deuce Vaughn does not play for Kansas State no more. Missouri's got an opportunity to knock number 15 Kansas State off in their hometown, Memorial Stadium, Faurot Field, Columbia, Missouri. What are your thoughts on Kansas State, Missouri?
I actually like Kansas State to win this. I do think Missouri covers the 5, definitely. But Kansas State reminds me a lot of Utah as far as in the Pac-12 when you put them in the Big 12. They're always really just sneaky tough. Last year they won 9 or 10 football games. Um, they find ways to grind you down, and I haven't seen that out of Missouri in recent years. Maybe you're right this weekend, but I do like Missouri to cover the 5. But I can't discount Kansas State. I think they looked tremendous last week, and in their opener, they certainly got the job done as well. So I'm going to go Kansas State again.
Speaking of Utah, Weber State at Utah is the next game. Utah number 12, and my God, they might get into the top 10 without their starting quarterback. Cam Rising has yet to suit up. Utah keeps winning, and now they got Weber State at home. I think they roll, obviously. I mean, there's no bookie points on this, but Utah should roll and move to 3-0 and might get into the top 10 now without a starting quarterback, which would be insane.
Yeah, I think they absolutely get it done. No reason to second guess that at all. Kyle Whittingham should be able to make the adjustments to keep it rolling.
Another game where I'm saying hammer the over like crazy. 11:30 game on Peacock. Central Michigan Chippewas at Notre Dame. The total is
Wow,
54 points.
the Peacock picking
Like
up a
Notre
Central Michigan
Dame might
battle.
score 54 points.
Yeah, I think Central Michigan was pretty scrappy in their week one opener, from what I saw. But Sam Hartman, there's just not the pieces in place to slow him down. A Grizzly vet, look for him to throw for 300 yards, maybe 400 if they don't take him out of the game.
Notre Dame 3-0, Central Michigan 1-1. Of course, Notre Dame played that week 0, and they just keep continuing to roll. Another game that I do somewhat want, I honestly thought about going crazy on it, and then I was like, no way. Spencer Rattler has not impressed me enough to do anything. But South Carolina at number 1, Georgia. It's a 28-point Georgia spread, 54 total. You think there's anything here where South Carolina competes or maybe upsets Georgia, or is this just a steamroll from number 1?
I just think Georgia completely dismantles them, over the course of the game. I think we're probably talking about a 42 to 13, 42 to 16 type of win. Um, Georgia is just so fast, so strong. Seems like at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage, just so much better than everybody they play. And we talked about going into the season how I felt they were what Alabama used to be, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So bad news, Gamecock fans. Wake up at 8 a.m., start drinking early, throw on that jersey because they are in for a. I mean, the Bulldogs are just pretty much an assumed loss for anybody, I think, on the schedule this time of year, but particularly them, just no chance.
Yeah, I thought about it for a minute, and then I was just like, nah, they lost to
It
North
just
Carolina.
it just doesn't make sense. As good as Georgia is, like, how do you poke holes in that theory, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're too good.
Number 10, Alabama, which is so weird to say. Number 10, Alabama at South Florida. Both teams are 1-1. Alabama favored by 32 with a total of 61. It's at Raymond James Stadium on Saturday. So they're going to have back-to-back football games. What do you like here? Alabama covering 32, or does the USF, sorry, South Florida Bulls cover that 32?
I think they cover it. I think I take the Tide to win, probably 41 to 10. But if the line's 32, I think it's one of those games, right? You're pissed off that you took it because they don't cover it, but they win. They almost cover it. So, but yeah, I think Milrow has a good bounce back game. Saban comes in ready. So, not a game I'll be watching, but yeah.
I got Alabama covering on this one. I think they want to win to prove they're still a top 10 team. And staying in the top 10 is going to require a big, big win covering the spread against this South Florida team. So that's what I'm leaning with there. I think Alabama gets it done, covers the spread in a mighty fashion. That is a fat spread, but I'm still leaning on it, Nick Saban and the boys, to prove the Crimson Tide is still a top 10 organization. San Diego State 2-1 at number 16, Oregon State 24.5 spread total 49. It's in Corvallis, 65 degrees and some rain. Hammer the over. 49 points. Oregon State's much, much better than San Diego State. 49's too low for me.
I will say I am really impressed by Oregon State early on. They have played bad teams, but they have absolutely destroyed them, and that's always the sign of a good team. When you dominate the competition that you're supposed to beat instead of just beating them, you know that majority of the time when it's time to play a good team, you're going to show up and compete, at least at the Pac-12 conference level. I think they win again this weekend. I don't think they cover. I like the Beavers to win by 17 to 20 points. San Diego State is a small school, but they're usually not a pushover, and I think that's part of it. But I will say, moving forward, Beavers are a team to watch. They might contend for who we expect Washington to be. Beavers might actually end up being better, but we'll have to watch that play out. And right now, they're probably just focused on San Diego State, which again, I think they win 17 to 20 points.
Battle in Oklahoma, number 19 Oklahoma at Tulsa, 28 points favoring the Sooners, 60-point total, Chapman Stadium in Tulsa, 79 and sunny.
Football weather,
Oklahoma
that's
Sooners quarterback has
real nice.
484 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions on the season, which leads me to believe this is going to be a blowout, guys. 28 points on the road favoring the Sooners. What do you got?
Yeah, just too much firepower for Oklahoma. I think Tulsa fights a little bit early, but they probably win by 34 to 36 and keep the train going.
Good old Tulsa. Some nice gold helmets, but never known to get it done. Next game, we got 2-0 Minnesota at 2-0 North Carolina. Spread's only at 8, totals at 50. Based on what I've seen, North Carolina should blow this game out of the water. There's no reason the Golden Gophers hang around. Give me UNC to win by 15 or more.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of what the Golden Gophers coach PJ Fleck installed defensively there. I think since he's got there, they've bought in. They've been a lot better as a defense, but just way too many concerns for me on the offensive side of the ball. They struggled to exploit a really bad Nebraska team. Um, that Nebraska team. I understand Matt Rule's the coach there now, but keep in mind he hasn't had a full cycle to recruit. That defense is not good, and they could not score much against them. So I think, yeah, you're right on the money with that. Tar Heels probably win this thing by 20 plus.
Lowly Northwestern at Duke. Duke getting 19 at number 21 in the nation now. Duke Blue Devils ranked in football, 2-0, undefeated. Line's at 49-77. I'm saying take the total here, go over. Duke should win this game handily. Don't know if they cover. Don't know how good that defense is, but 49 points is too low for a team that's impressed mightily so far to start the season.
I don't like the over here because I feel like they win, like Duke wins this thing like 44 to 3. Um, Northwestern, I expect them to finish last in the Big Ten, and it won't be
Yeah.
close. They are really the worst team in that division, maybe the worst team in Power Five football. Honestly, they are bad. Um, Obviously, scandal completely clouding the program. You see that from time to time when things are just at that breaking point, is when it's the worst.
1 and
Um,
11 last year, Northwestern, but
exactly. I mean, there's just so much going on wrong for them. So, yeah, I think Duke. I think minus 19. Put your life on it. I mean, gamble your life on it because they're so much better. Duke has returning quarterbacks, returning veteran wide receivers. This is things we missed in the early of the season. Now we know they have a coach who's completely changed the culture. They buy into the system. Nothing about that screams they're going to struggle with Northwestern, who is lost in some sexual just slap your ass scandal from I forgot what even happened, but it's not about football over there right now. They're real distracted. People are just doing weird shit in the locker room. Um, Everything I mean, again, Duke would have to basically be involved in a gambling scheme and like throw the game to not win by 19. Like I swear to God, that's how bad it is.
oh
But
yeah, I'll be watching for that one because that's probably one to hammer and just not watch and just check the scoreboard and you just see Duke blowing them out. Western Michigan Broncos go to number 25. Hawkeyes, Iowa is now ranked 25 in the nation. They are undefeated. Totals at 43. And the spread's at 29. So this is another one to me that I'm saying take the total. Go over here. 43 is pretty low. We should get into the 45, 46 in this game, I think.
I don't like 29 points for the Hawkeyes here. It's far too much. You got a brown cartoon horse coming to town at just big enough school to sketch out the Hawkeyes. We've seen the Hawkeyes again, these lower tier Division One opponents with interesting helmets slide in and upset them. I don't think they upset them. I'll be real. I think Iowa probably puts this thing away, wins by 13, but 29 just far too much for a program that offensively never lives up to the billing, and so can't even look at that line. Bait.
Another game that I do expect to get bad quick. Mel Tucker fired at Michigan State after recent scandal and investigation.
That one was sexual assault scandal in the program.
Number 8, Washington at Michigan State. Harlan Barnett is your interim coach. Washington's going to destroy the Spartans in this game. A game with a program that's just mentally afraid. They're concerned, who knows who's involved in what scandals. Washington, to prove they're a team that deserves to be in the college playoff, as a team I had as my dark horse, goes into Michigan State and wins by 20 plus. On the flip side, Harlan Barnett, MSU interim coach. You go in and you upset Washington after the Mel Tucker scandal. They put you into the Spartan fucking clothing, and you're just hailed as the next savior of the program. Like, that's ideally what happens here. So this is a big, big game, big stipulations on both sides. If you go in for Washington and you dominate in Michigan State, a nice, power program school with a decent enough football team, people are going to start looking at Washington like a playoff contender. And then for Michigan, of course, interim coach, you got to win. You got to win the program back. If you win, it's like Disneyland over there. So Washington, to me, gets it done. They're too good. Michael Penix, 5 touchdowns this game.
Yeah, nothing close. Washington by probably 3 to 4 touchdowns minimum. Great offense. I think Kalen DeBoer's really revived that program. They haven't been on a rise like this since Chris Peterson took them to the playoffs, but 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm sure Huskies fans are excited, and it'll be interesting to see where Michigan State goes from here. But can't take them this weekend.
And then guess who's ranked now? Number 23, Washington State. They're hosting the Northern Colorado Bears. Just wanted to throw it out there, mainly that Washington State is ranked number 23. Typically a bad program. To see them get in there, that's got to be nice for them. Nothing to talk about there. Should be a blowout. Nobody even knows who Northern Colorado is. So we move on to the next one. North Carolina Central, another one at number 25, UCLA. UCLA now breaks into the top 25. Last of the remaining Pac-12 teams, before the whole division disappears. So good to see for UCLA fans. Again, nothing to talk about there. North Carolina Central, don't even know what their program is about. Number 11, Tennessee at Florida. Here's our game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. College football game of the week. Number 11, Tennessee at Florida. Florida +7 to me. I'm all over this one in the swamp. What do you got? Vols coming to the swamp.
I can't get on board with this. Utah beat Florida pretty handily, and that was with their backup quarterback. I consider Tennessee to be better than Utah, even losing Hendon Hooker. This team is stacked with blue chip talent, even more so than Utah. A lot of electric players, the true definition of just SEC athletes. And Florida, again, we talked about it last week. They just, and the week before, looked like a lot of guys who got paid and mailed it in. And that's just the type of vibe I get from the culture right now in Gainesville. Until that's fixed, I don't think I'm going to be able to take them in much. And I think Tennessee covers 7 this weekend, probably without an issue. You might see some fight early in the game, but by the time the third and fourth quarter comes around, I think this thing is tucked away. And Billy Napier, I think the hot seat is going to start to warm up from him. A once promising offensive coordinator, spent time at Arizona State, Louisiana Monroe. The Raging Cajuns won a lot with him as their head coach after he left Tempe. Looked like a guy that could revive Florida, and now as we kind of close this chapter, I think he's probably out before the end of the season if things don't turn around in a hurry.
Yeah, Florida did disappoint in opening week. I will say that. So, one of the closer, I would say, matchups again, because not too many great matchups from the top 25 slate to start this week. Bowling Green goes to number 2. Michigan totals at 53. I say hammer that, 54. I say hammer that. Bowling Green's awful at football. Michigan should put up around 50 points in this game and give up a field goal or a touchdown. So that's why I say that. I think this one is going to be good.
Yeah, I like Michigan to cover. They, to me, are right now the runaway favorite to win the Big Ten. They're going into the year. I picked Ohio State to win the Big Ten. I think early on it's evident I got that wrong. It's early, but I know I've seen enough. Michigan, unless they're injured or just start turning the ball over uncharacteristically, I think they are going to dominate this weekend and win the Big Ten.
Georgia Tech at number 17, Ole Miss. 20-point spread. I think Georgia Tech can cover this. I think they're good enough to cover this game. Ole Miss has heated up the last couple of years, but I think 20 is a lot. And I think Ole Miss is still going to win this game by a touchdown, 17 points even.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss by probably 10 points here. Georgia Tech's looked a little bit better this year than in previous seasons, but for me, Ole Miss gets it done.
How about Texas? Texas has moved up to number 11. Wyoming is now going to Texas. This total's at 49. And I'm leaning on the over in this game, Wyoming at Texas. I think Wyoming has proven to be a better small school football team over the past couple seasons. They do not have the recruiting talent to keep up with the Texas Longhorns. This game's going over. A lot of points scored in this game. And I honestly do believe Wyoming has a decent enough offense to hang some points on Texas, which is why I believe this total of 49 is one of the easier bets of the week, really, because Wyoming can score and Texas, has talent. This game should get into the 50s pretty easily.
Yeah, I think Texas probably wins this thing 47 to 16, maybe 47 to 13. I think the Wyoming Cowboys do put up some points, particularly maybe late in the game as the lead has kind of gotten out of control. But a little off the note, I mean, I think I would love Wyoming has been a place for a while that I would love to spend a game day one time, just a cool,
Yes.
crisp October morning, throw on a jacket, go watch the Cowboys play at home, kind of just to soak in their tailgate, see what's up with that fan
Oh,
base, the environment.
man.
And then, you figure after the game, the somewhere's cooking up baked beans. So I mean, there's probably a lot to look for just to get a whole new experience. So I got to put that on the list because, man, one of these years we definitely one of
Yes.
these years we definitely got to just grab some Phil
To a
Steele
camping
magazines
trip.
and go
Yep.
to
Do
one
a
of the.
camping trip and then hit the Cowboy Stadium.
I tell you what would be crazy is basically just a dual weekend, right? So we pick a random college town to visit in America for a game, right? Get there for game day, go to bed, and then wake up the next morning and do that with a random NFL like marquee matchup. That's just basically just a record type of weekend, and then you go home. You're like, man, that's see some new
Yep.
stadiums. Can't beat it.
That would be amazing. Hawaii at number 13, Oregon. Hawaii's got to fly to Eugene. Totals at 69 points. Bo Nix expected to put up a lot on a sleepy Oregon team, a sleepy Hawaii team who really is horrible, has been for a couple seasons now, and then they're going to be playing in a different time zone. 69 is still a lot of points, man. 69 is a lot of points. I'm saying take
Yeah, I agree.
going under here.
Probably 57 to 7. I mean, just enough to like make you pissed off that you almost hit it. But I mean, look, I think Oregon's looking ahead to next week. Next weekend, if everything hangs on, Oregon versus Colorado. Huge game for the Buffaloes. This is a measuring stick game. To me, they're already better than what we thought, much better than what I thought. I thought they'd win 7 games. They look more to me like an 8 to 9 win team right now. And by the way, 3-star recruit Shador Sanders, um, more than a 3-star guy. I can tell you that. I've been watching for long enough to tell you he's one of those guys that was underrated in the recruiting process. I can see now. So looking ahead to that game already if Oregon can win this.
Yeah, I mean, and perfect segue because that's what we're closing it out with. Quite frankly, America's game of the week every week since Coach Prime took over. It just seems like everybody is tuned in. People want to watch it. They want to see it. They're rooting for them. They're rooting against them. There's been so many eyes and so much hype on this. Colorado State at number 18, Colorado, total of 59 points. Colorado State can put up some points. So can Colorado. So I'm wanting to go over the total of 59 in this game. I think Colorado does win this game. It's a big spread. I don't think Colorado covers the spread. It's a rivalry game in state. Colorado wins pretty handily, but they don't cover this spread. I think it's at like 23, something like that, 23 and a half.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado wins by 21. Um, Shador Sanders, again, I just mentioned him, so good at improv. Rocket arm, extremely accurate. Seems like he's collected back there. He doesn't get flustered easily. These are qualities that obviously make a great quarterback at any level. But in a rivalry game, you need that more than ever. I think it comes up big for the Buffs. And that's another great game on the slate that you circle and just say, man, this is, yeah, their rivals Nebraska, but it's a different type of rivalry when it's in state. So this should be grand.
Another great week of football, guys. College, NFL. We wrap up our college slate. Who do you have? I know we're still early on, 2 weeks in, but who is your leading Heisman candidate right now?
Caleb Williams. He might be the first person to repeat in over 20 years.
Should be.
He looks like the best player in college football, and I really can't think of anybody that's close. And that to me is, you put him in any conference, he's just that good.
Yeah, Caleb Williams. I think he was the walkaway favorite at this point. I would have Sanders up there. I mean, I think Caleb Williams is still number one. I think you got Shador Sanders. I think Penix is right there this season too, and then the North Carolina kid. I think he's going to be right there. I think that's my top four right now. But Caleb Williams far and away, because we know what he's going to be. You know, he's just so solid. The way he moves the ball, throws with the ball. He's your primetime prospect. So fun times await, guys. Join us next week. We'll be back. No vacations next week. We do got one coming up next month, but until then, football slate packed full, good bets, good picks, lots of football talk, pigskin around the world. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Can't wait to weigh in on
Hopefully,
Sunday and see
hopefully
what's
some of
up.
these bets cash. We'll be posting them. We'll talk to you guys soon. Fun times await. Football for everybody.